Marhaba and hello to our brothers and sisters around the world, friends of the cause of justice for the Palestinian people. Muhammad Ismael, my friend here, and I, Dr. Jack Dempsey, American writer and historian, have been posting these programs. I think this may be getting close to our 30th program, where we simply try to keep alive discussion of the issues and daily lives of the Palestinian people. Today is Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. And as usual, we simply, for anybody who may be coming to this particular show first, try to describe that, well, the Palestinians' conditions have been going on in Gaza as they are, locked in there for 15 years, 75 years since the dispossession of Muhammad's family from the little village of Shafir, which is, quote, no longer there for a Jewish only settlement. Meanwhile, in Gaza, they have maybe 8 hours of electricity to each day. Think about how that might affect you in the civilized world, you might say. If you're thirsty, there's no clean water. You have to buy it in bottles or give it so much preparation, it's simply ridiculous. If you're hungry, you're competing with about 12,000 people, believe it or not, who must eat off of one supply truck out of the 250 that Israel allows perhaps into Gaza each day. If you do the math there with 2.5 million people, half of them children, that's how many people must be fed from one truck. And then if you're starving or sick, if you need a hospital, if you need medications, it's a tough row to hoe. Believe us, it is almost impossible for the Palestinians in Gaza to carry on any kind of medical services, and it's doubly difficult for them to travel outside of Gaza to get the different kinds of treatment they need. So, as a civilized listener, as we're sure you are, the obvious question comes to mind: what can I do? And we always say there are three things: write to your own government, demand changes in the policies that are either indifferent to or support Israeli apartheid, because that's most of all what makes it fly: foreign support. Write to your own government a simple letter that would mean not much effort to you, but the world, to the Palestinian people who need to be released from this hell of no hope and no horizons. The second thing is BDS: boycott, divest, and sanction. Become more scrupulous in your consumption of all kinds of bought, purchased items, and make sure none of them have come from production centers in the occupied territories of Palestine. It is beginning to be noticed by the Israeli government, who are imposing apartheid on these people, and it can only benefit from your participation. The third is what Muhammad and I call family to family. We have struck up a friendship over 2 years and more, and my wife and I, have been able to help Muhammad and his family a little bit, only using Western Union. No banks, no NGOs, no profiteer between you and the Palestinian people. You can literally reach right into Gaza over these hideous walls and send whatever kind of support you might be able to agree with direct contact Palestinian friends, individuals, family that Muhammad would be able to introduce you to. And I'm telling you, it is the most rewarding thing I've ever done. You can instantly see the results of your help when you talk with them every week or whenever you please to. It's entirely created by you. And it's that simple. We use, as I said, I think, Western Union to send some funds. We sent for the first year of his beautiful twin daughters, canned milk, and we've been able to transform some of the rooms in Muhammad's house so that they have access and can live comfortably in those rooms. It just so much it means to them to have their daily lives assisted in some way when there is no other help at all. All the money that comes in from overseas for the Palestinian people is stolen by corrupt oligarchs and corrupt governments there. That's another problem we've discussed from time to time. But your help would be direct. Don't be afraid. You rather think that, well, in the earthquake regions of Turkey a couple of months ago, there are now dozens of countries coming to their aid and rebuilding their lives. In Ukraine, which is being destroyed for no reason that anyone can understand, There is a future because other countries will come to their aid when the fighting ends. In Gaza and in Palestine, it's not like that. There's nothing on the horizon for them in terms of a sense of liberation, being able to travel where they want, get educated where they want, take care of their children's future. There's nothing. And so what you do makes a huge difference. It might not mean much to you, but it means the world to them. So to close my usual lengthy introduction, Muhammad, excuse me, but I want to say hello to you again. It's been a difficult week there, and we're going to get into the details of that. But I thought the audience might like to know, at jackdempseywriter.wordpress.com is where you can see photographs that Muhammad has taken of his family and the work that they're doing on the house, etc. And you will see his lovely wife, his beautiful three children. They're all so small, they've never known freedom. But today, after all the troubles and the ceasefire has taken effect, Mohammed, you said your wife and the children and your mother took a 1 kilometer walk to the sea to just get some air and some different surroundings. I bet that feels pretty good.
Hello, brother. I am so happy to be alive after this crazy war in order to see you and see our friends again and to talk with you and with them. So I am fortunate to survive after this crazy war.
Mohammed, I have
Uh,
to tell you, I don't have any other friends who have ever said that to me. Hello, Jack. I'm happy to be alive.
yes, yes, brother. It's a truth. What happened in those 5 days was something cruel and something unbelievable. Me and my family were very, very about to die or to be harmed with this crazy attack. Uh, just very, very close to my house. It was very massive explosion. I think it's a 1 ton explosive bomb struck
2,000
my.
pounds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, it's American made bomb. I don't know whether it's made by Boeing or by Lockheed Martin, but of course, it's an American made. My house was shaking like more than like an earthquake, like a very, very uh, fierce earthquake. My windows were shaking, and of course, we used to inhale some gas, some dust from this explosion. And right now, if you can see, I am coughing. I have some infection in my neck, uh,
Throat.
in my chest, but it's okay, brother. Yeah, as you just
But
said,
it's okay, he says.
yeah. Yes, brother. Our life has educated us to live like the camels. You know, camel is a symbol of patience. You have to be patient always. So, so we used to live like like the camel. Uh, as you just said, my mother, my wife, Gada, and my children, Jojo, Dina, Lena, they used to walk 1 kilometer voyage to the sea. They used to go there in order to enjoy the celestial color of sea and to breathe some clean breeze. Maybe this breeze will be coming from Crete, from Greece, from from Gavdos, from
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they used to go there in order to let their lungs catch some pure oxygen, because during those 5 days we used to inhale only the toxic gases, the dust, the fragrance of death, the fragrance of blood. Yes, brother.
I I'm picturing that scene of them at the beach in my mind, and I know what your family looked like. But I just want to encourage and implore people to go to Jack Dempsey Writer at WordPress.com and see these photos. You want to feel your heart melt? You will see the most beautiful children, most beautiful family maybe that you've ever seen, and the hope that keeps living in their faces. One of the things Muhammad and I try to do with this program is to simply keep hope alive by helping the world to realize these are people. These are human beings. They are not numbers and statistics and faceless victims of Israeli apartheid. They're people. And the more we realize that, the more we want to take some action to create some pressure to help them. So, Mohammed, I mean, a 2,000-pound bomb. I have one quick perspective to help people appreciate the magnitude of the explosion that must have created by saying you've probably all seen a World War II movie where American planes drop bombs on German cities. Each of those bombs is usually a 500-pound bomb, and it's enough to destroy a factory. A 2,000-pound bomb, they would have called at least a blockbuster. Its impact is simply going to level everything in the area. There are palm trees visible out the windows, upper windows of Muhammad's house, and he said that they were swaying like this with the impact. Can you tell us more? I mean, the death of Khader Adnan a few weeks ago touched off a lot of new conflict. And from there, it kept escalating, Muhammad, until Hamas stupidly fired some of their impotent rockets at Israel. And that brought on new attacks on Gaza. Talk a little bit more what it was like there. You've told us the smells of the bombs and the human injury and all this, but can you talk a little more about what it's like there when bombs and artillery shells and missiles are coming down on you?
Yes, brother. As you know, after the death of Khader Adnan, the violence used to accelerate here in the Palestinian territories. The Palestinian military groups started to launch some primitive rockets, and on the other hand, Israel, the Israeli army, started to hit Gaza by artillery, by ground to ground missiles, by air force, etc. So before this war, we have a big acceleration in the violence on the both sides between the Palestinians and the Israelis. And uh, you saw what happened in the first day of this war. Israel used to assassinate three leaders in Jihad Islami military wing. They used to assassinate them just within very few minutes, maybe within 30 minutes. Those three leaders were assassinated. And of course, they used to kill them with their families. So each one of these three leaders was killed with his wife, his children, and his family. Yeah, after that, we had a big response from Islamic Jihad and other military groups. They used to launch about 1,200 missiles. So, what was the result? Well, the result was very, very poor. They killed only one Israeli, and they injured 11. So one Israeli was killed per 1,200 rockets. This is a clear proof that those rockets are unguided, not effective, worthless. I think they harm us. They harm the Palestinians
Of course.
more than harming the Israelis. And after the killing of those three leaders, Israel continued its policy of assassination. They used to assassinate another three. So in total, they assassinated 6 leaders in Islamic Jihad military wing. It was very, very cruel. 5 days. I told you what happened. If you want to speak about the humanitarian situation, I think it was very, very tough. We suffered a lot. No electricity, no clean water. You are obliged to drink the not clean water, the dirty water, the unhealthy water, because you have no choice. You cannot go out of your house to buy the clean one.
And to give
Uh,
people an idea how bad that water is, it not only creates terrible gastrointestinal problems in your stomachs, but it even destroys people's teeth.
yeah, yes, brother. It
Can you imagine
destroy.
how foul this is?
Yeah, brother. It destroy teeth. Here in Gaza, we have thousands of dentists. They are working very, very well here, and they are gaining very good money. They are making very good money because I think to be a dentist, I think it's a very, very brilliant business. You can make good money here because all of Gaza people are suffering from teeth problems. This dirty water causes so many problems, health problems. It causes the destruction of teeth. It causes so many kinds of cancers, breast
Yes.
cancer for women, prostate cancer, lung cancer, stomach cancer, etc. And beside that, it makes so many infections in the body. So this water is not healthy, and as you know, it makes so many troubles for people. But we are obliged and sometimes to drink it because you have no other choice. So during this war, during those 5 days, you are not allowed to go outside your home. If you departure your home directly, you will be hit by the drone because Gaza sky is covered with hundreds of those drones and they are armed with missiles. If you are leaving your house directly, you will be hit by a missile.
And there's a film I'd like people to know. There's a channel at YouTube called The Empire Files. The leading journalist there, Miss Abby Martin, has done a lot of reportage about Palestinian issues. Brilliant, brilliant, brave reportage. And there are drone views of Gaza, its whole territory, and you see just miles and miles of devastated landscape, smashed buildings, smashed towns, villages, cities. I can't imagine what they are bombing anymore, but just to, as they say in the military, shake the rubble, bounce the rubble. Everything is already virtually destroyed. And so they're launching in these rockets, missiles. Uh, it's just, well, it's beyond understanding. And then on top of that, Mohammed, you have during this conflict period, the gates of Gaza are closed to any incoming supplies. So, guess what happens? The price of everything goes up because the oligarchs, the rich, corrupt people, elites, and the Hamas organization increase the prices and their quote taxes on virtually everything, especially in a time of scarcity. So if this isn't a government that is an insult to its people, I don't know what is. Mohammed, what is your idea of what is Hamas's thinking? Okay, we have a terrible reason to be angry with the Israelis. We want to show our anger. We want to strike back. We want to fight back and resist. But don't they know by now that launching rockets brings nothing but pain and suffering to their own people? Why don't they understand this?
Yes, brother. As you know, brother, in each war, we have no logic. We have no logic in our side, the Palestinian side, directly they used to to be pulled to this Israeli plot. Israel always is provoking us to make violence against the Israeli civilians, and unfortunately, always we are responding to this Israeli plot. I think there is no logic whether with Hamas or Islamic Jihad or the other Palestinian military group. You talked about the closure of Gaza. Yes, Gaza was closed, totally closed during those days. The daily trucks didn't attend to Gaza checkpoints. So we had a big shortage in food, in medicine, in the petroleum, which is necessary for the transportation, for car movement, for
And for
the
electricity.
yeah, exactly, for the generation of electricity. Uh, there is a big shortage, especially in food. For me, I hadn't in my house anything more than some lentil. So we used to eat lentil all the all the all the 5 days. We used to eat lentil, you know. You cannot, even if you have something in the market, you cannot go to the market because you are threatened with those drones which fly over your home. Yes, brother. So the situation was very, very bad. Maybe words cannot express exactly how much we suffered during those days.
And
I think,
there is no mercy from any direction either, because as you shared with me in one of our other conversations, when you see a Palestinian funeral marching in procession with the body of a person recently killed by Israel, there are many bright green flags in the crowd. And the government, Hamas, forces people who are in grief for their lost loved one to carry the party flag, as if to show the world, see, the people are all behind Hamas. And they are not. Hamas would not last, as you've told me, Mohammed, 6 months without money from foreign countries that flows in corrupt ways to sustain them. But to go back, I just want to hammer that question with you, Mohammed. What is Hamas thinking? Don't they know by now that launching rockets brings terrible suffering to people of Gaza? Don't they know by now? Don't they have any other ideas about how to represent you and to fight for justice?
yes, brother, not only Hamas, but also Islamic Jihad, because the recent war was led mostly by Islamic Jihad, not by Hamas. Maybe Hamas didn't participate too much in this war. Most of the participation was from Islamic Jihad, and most of the launched rockets were from Islamic Jihad, because you know the targeted leaders were the Jihad's one, not Hamas one. But generally, even in the previous wars, always Islamic Jihad and Hamas, uh, as I told you, are working without logic. Always they want only to fire rockets and to express their anger against the Israelis, but they doesn't put in their consideration that those rockets are going to harm the Palestinians themselves more than the Israelis. When you fire those rockets, you are closing the checkpoints of Gaza as an Israeli response. So your people will suffer more and more from the shortage of food and medicine and petroleum materials. And of course, beside that, you will be harmed in the a universal media. When Israel shed light on those rockets and made some exaggeration, saying that we are victims for those dangerous rockets. We are victims. We are victims for Hamas
Yeah,
smart
yeah.
rockets.
And
We have so many children are fearing or have some shock. So we are victim by firing those rockets. We are putting Israel. We are putting the Israelis in the character of victim. We are making them victims in front of the universal media.
yes.
So those worthless rockets, frankly, they are harming us, the Palestinians. They are
And
harming us more than harming the Israelis.
I wonder if someone should really do a study on this, maybe me, but is there another country in the world that is in such simultaneous violation of so many international laws? The occupation, the detention of Palestinian people without trial, sometimes for years at a time, targeted assassinations themselves are against international law. No one says a word. And you can imagine, let's say that tomorrow, somehow, a rocket from Gaza or from the occupied territories reached into the home of Ben Gvir himself or Netanyahu himself, and they targeted those people for assassination, and they were killed along with their whole family by such an attack. You would see their pictures, the father, the mother, the children, the dog, on the front page of the New York Times. And yet, when it happens to Palestinian families, a man who's in Islamic Jihad is killed, and along with him, his whole family at the dinner table, let's say, you don't see anything about it. They're just militants, they're just terrorists. And that's what our struggle is about, Muhammad. We're trying to show that these are human beings being tormented and tortured and punished as a people for the actions of a few. It must make you insane because it makes me insane.
Yes, yes, brother. Unfortunately, yeah, you are right. As I told you, brother, when we are firing rockets on Israel, directly the Israelis, with their smartness and with their with their always they
Sophistication.
are. Yeah, exactly, brother, exactly. Always they are getting benefit from this incident. They used to market themselves in front of the Western media that we are victims. Look, we are victims. We are suffering
Always,
under,
every
under
time.
yeah, unfortunately, brother, and always we are being pulled to this plot, to this. Always, brother, we are pulled to commit the same mistake. We are firing those rockets, and they yeah.
That's the problem. And Mohammed, I know many times you've described in many points of view in detail how exhausted, how tired, how full of despair the Palestinians in Gaza especially are. But is there any energy or appetite or curiosity among Palestinian people to have an election that would bring a new government and new proposals for peace instead of for war and death? Is there any appetite among Palestinian people for new elections and a new government?
Of course, brother, no doubt. We are too much thirsty to democracy.
Hmm.
We are thirsty to practice our right as human rights. We are humans. We have sensation. We have feelings. We are creatures, not. So I think, brother, we are thirsty to democracy. All the Palestinian people in Gaza are hoping one day to practice their freedom to choice, to choose their candidates, to vote, to
And
choose
what
the people.
What to you,
who will
what to you, Muhammad, is the greatest, what are the greatest obstacles? What is preventing, what doing the most to prevent a new Palestinian election for a government? What's in the way?
as you know, brother, we are governed by some gangs, by some corrupted people, by some thieves, whether in West Bank or here in Gaza. They want to govern the Palestinian territories for forever. They want to be eternal leaders for us because always they are filling their pockets. They are filling their pockets with our money. They are begging money. They are begging money from all over the world, and unfortunately, those money are going to their bank accounts, not to me and to my family and to my neighbor and to the other people who are living in Gaza. So if you make a democracy directly, people will topple them. People will topple them, and they will lose this nice sort of income. They will
And I,
not.
yeah, and I imagine that this is, no matter where you turn, Muhammad, this is a very dangerous idea to have a new election because one, the oligarchs and the corrupt present governments of Hamas and the PA, they, like you say, want to stay in power and keep lining their pockets forever. On the Israeli side, they don't want a unified Palestinian new government with new ideas to be speaking to the world to say, we'd like to offer you this as a token of our will toward peace. What gesture can you make back to us to help us create peace and to stop all this horrible apartheid practice? I imagine that's very dangerous. They don't want the Palestinians to look human and sympathetic and creative toward their own destiny. It's the dimensions among which you are trapped. Every single way of helping yourself is blocked to you. That's, ladies and gentlemen, why we feel that family to family is something important that you can do. Reach in and help them to live some kind of life while they struggle. Mohammed?
Yes, yes, brother. Yeah, you are right, brother. Uh, you know, brother, always after each war, we have very, very big increase in the rates of suicide, in the rates of immigration, in the rates of crime. So always we have those consequences of each war. In the aftermath of each war, always we have an increase in those bad rates: crime, immigration, committing suicide. So always I am searching in the media, looking in the newspapers, just monitoring what will happen in this aftermath. Always the aftermath of each war is not less dangerous than the war itself. Always the aftermath of each war is not less dangerous than the war itself, because as I told you, we have those crazy rates. We have big increase in them, whether crime, committing suicide, or immigration. So I am so sad for my people and for what happened for my people.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have one recommendation of a documentary film about Palestinian life I really think you'll enjoy and learn from. But meanwhile, we'd like to just repeat on these very notes that there are things you can do. Write to your own government to demand policy changes to help the Palestinian people. Practice meticulous BDS against Israeli made products and family to family. Reach into their world via Western Union and Zoom. Make wonderful friendships and see the direct impact of your help on individuals, families, women, men, and children trapped 15 years in Gaza. Muhammad, this year is 75 years since the original dispossession of the Palestinian people. And I'd like to recommend a film that came out fairly recently. It has almost 2 million views now. It's by a producer named Dina, D-E-N-A, Takruri, Takruri, and it's called How Apartheid Destroyed My Hometown. And the hometown is the root town of her family, which is Hebron. And there have been a very small minority of Jewish settlers, so-called settlers. I mean, imagine coming into a built-up city that is centuries old and calling yourself a settler. What do you think? You're out in the middle of the uninhabited woods and you're just claiming virgin land for your wonderful culture. It's just crazy. But the film is called How Apartheid Destroyed My Hometown by Dina Takruri at YouTube. You will see, I mean, there are streets divided so that you can, if you're a Palestinian, if you walk this far off the path they have demarcated for you, they can shoot at you. But Jewish people and foreigners can go anywhere they want. This young woman goes in search of her father's house in Hebron, and you see the conditions under which the Palestinians are struggling to live now. So it's a really powerful piece of work, and I hope you'll sit down and take a look at it because it shows the humanity that is at stake here. Muhammad, anything else you'd like to add for this week?
Yes, brother. I ask people to watch this interesting movie. It's uh, it's it's very important visual document. Uh, Shows how we suffered, how we were obliged to leave our lands, and I am thinking to see some director. Maybe I can make some movie about the story of Jihad. My father, when he was born 75 years ago, on the roadside, when my ancestors used to immigrate from Shafir to Gaza, he was born in the road. Nazira, my grandmother, birthed him in the shadow of a sycamore fig tree, and she put him in a basket, and she carried him over her head, and she continued the walking into Gaza, because at that time she hadn't any time to wait to take some rest in the shadow, because all the people of Shafir were escaping from the Israeli
Yes.
Mystère aircrafts.
Yes, and you've told before how the at the time the Israeli Air Force was using French Mirage jet fighters, and the planes were coming over the long lines of walkers from their village into the refugee areas of Gaza, and they were so low that the people could see the pilot in his cockpit, and he would be shaking his fist or cursing them as he flew overhead, let alone shooting at them to make sure they kept moving. This is what we're
Yes,
talking
yes,
about, my
brother.
friends.
Yes,
And Muhammad and
yes,
I want
brother.
to thank you very much
Yeah.
for listening again. We're just out of time, Muhammad, but thank you for your time and sharing with us what's going on there. And we'll look forward to our next discussion. Be well
Thank you.
and be safe, you and all the family, and we wish them a wonderful day at the beach.
Thank you. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much.
Much love to you and peace, my friend. Talk with you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.